we're going to be taking a look at a background image. Our scenario is we want to create a holiday ad, and we want to generate some images that we could use as the background for our holiday ad. Tell us, if you would, how does this work? What have we done here?
So we basically build a prompt to specifically create a background image for holiday display ad on Amazon with blank array in the middle. Do not include any text, which is very important because otherwise all of the image generation AI would try to write any text. And you have to be very careful with the text because most of AI generation image, image AI, they cannot generate specific text. So it would be all garbled up. It would not be legible. DALL-E is probably for this purpose the closest to what you are trying to do, specifically for the products. And of course, a lot of those images are being generated, 512 by 512. There are ways to upscale it to 1024 and 2048 and kind of above. It's a good start. It still would require touch by the graphic designers to be able to see it. Now, when we give the same prompt to Stable Diffusion, you're actually going to see is that it's a little bit more, I would say, cartoony in terms of its approach, right? We are looking at the same prompt. We are looking at the latest version, which is the XL beta. This is much less kind of viable for placing a product in versus what we actually seeing in DALL-E. I basically see here that we could actually create and drop any of the products and have a really good
the product or a CTA, some holiday headlines. There's not exactly a place for that. These are some nice looking images, but perhaps harder to use for this scenario for our display ads. What about things like brand colors? Is that something that a brand can specify here? Is that still kind of a roadmap?
Yes. So for sure, you can create your own color palette and being able to actually include it. So let's say if you are Coca-Cola, predominantly, red. If you PepsiCo, let's say blue. What I do like about Stable Diffusions later on, it actually has the options for negative prompt. And, you can actually specify which colors to avoid, which colors not to avoid, etc. Right? So you can fine tune this much better versus, DALL-E where you actually have to write the prompt. But then if you actually look at Mid-Journey options, Mid-Journey will be always more tuned towards more photorealistic imagery. So I think from that perspective, if you want to basically build something that it's a little bit more photorealistic, Mid-Journey might be actually your best bet. So if you actually see here, it's more like it's almost like more like a print ad.
Yeah, this is great. So a lot of some very different outputs. I suppose if we were seeing similar outputs, then we'd be a little concerned about similarities in the models. But I think it's really compelling that we're seeing such different outputs from these different engines, and really gives us some different possibilities for what we could do with the branding.
Yeah, it's also hard to compare because not necessarily having the same prompt across all of them makes sense, right? Because some of them need to be spoon-fed in terms of how we want to look at the specific image assets that we are generating. So we'll have to kind of mix and balance and learn all of them. But I would say Mid-Journey by far yields, the best results in general. But for specific cases, DALL-E might be a little bit more usable. Like I would say for this Amazon project, probably I would stick with the DALL-E, which is, by OpenAI images versus going directly to Mid-Journey.